Want to lose weight by just eating Twinkies for 10 weeks?
Someone did it.
Yep, this
Not
is,
just Twinkies.
but junk food. Welcome to Talking with Docs. I'm Dr. Brad.
I'm Dr. Paul Salazar.
Okay, leave a comment if you've ever done a crazy diet that someone would say, that is insane, why would you do that? But you actually lost some weight. We'd be curious to hear.
Yeah.
What we're talking about today is really, we're using this as an example to show you that really one of the key principles to weight loss, because it's new in the year, everyone's trying to lose some weight, is a calorie deficit.
Calorie reduction. So basically taking in less energy than you're putting out has to lead to weight loss.
Why?
It's the
Why, Paul?
first law of thermodynamics, okay? James Joule was his name, I think. He and another scientist, well, a lot of scientists came up with this, but they're sort of the main ones that found out that made the first law of thermodynamics. It says energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can just be transferred from one type to another.
Yep.
Okay. So you eat a certain amount of energy, that's your calories.
Yep.
And then you put out a certain amount of energy, that's breathing, living, walking, talking, thinking, all that stuff, exercising.
Yep.
If you eat less than you put out, you will lose weight.
Okay.
Period.
So this really interesting guy, Mark Haub, H-A-U-B, a professor from Kansas State University.
Yeah.
Did his background in his PhD and postdoc in nutrition and exercise science.
Mm-hmm.
I guess probably was talking with the students like, listen, I'm going to show you guys that with calorie reduction, it's not really about, I mean, a little bit, but it's not really about the food that you eat.
Yeah.
It's more about creating a calorie deficit.
Okay,
so,
now keep in mind, we're just talking about weight reduction.
Yes.
We're not talking about health, okay?
And we're talking very short term, not long term.
Yeah, that's what this experiment was. 30 days, was it? Or
No, it's 10 weeks.
10 weeks. Okay,
10 weeks. And this is only one person. So this is not a scientific study. This is just someone trying to prove a point.
And by no means this is healthy.
100%
just
not healthy.
Proving that losing weight is calorie reduction.
Right. So we are 100% not recommending this. So this guy, this is so awesome. I love this. Okay, so Dr. Haub for 10 weeks reduced his calories from what they estimated was about 2,600 calories to 1,800 calories a day.
Okay.
So that's the first thing. And so the average person, they estimate, requires somewhere in the 2,000 to 2,400 calories.
Yeah, a little bit less for women, a little bit more for men.
Right, and depends on your age, your size, your activity.
Fair.
What's interesting about this, though, is that it really brings to light, so he measured his calories very carefully,
Right.
that the average person, I looked into some of the data, underestimates the amount of calories that they consume every day in the range of like 20 to 40%.
Sure, fair.
And this is the common reason why people say, I'm on a diet, I can't lose any weight. And it's not because of the food that they're eating, it's because the actual amount that they're eating is too much.
And you've had patients say this, and I've had patients say
I eat
this.
like a bird.
I eat like a bird, but I'm still gaining weight.
Yeah, only eat salad.
Yeah. It can't be true. You cannot you can't create energy.
Right.
And your weight is energy, right? That's fat storing energy.
Right.
There's no way you can do it.
Because even people say, well, I don't eat anything. Well, even if you didn't eat anything, your metabolism would definitely slow down. Like this is actually not an effective long-term strategy to lose weight. But you would still, if you consume 0 calories, your body still has an inherent basal metabolic rate. So you have to lose weight.
That's
Like
what Joule said. Joule
it's
said
not possible.
That. And we named a unit of energy after the guy, Joule. That's how big his work was, right?
Yeah.
He probably wasn't happy when we named 1,000 joules a
kilogram?
Kilojoule.
A kilojoule. Yeah, you don't want to
threaten my family. Why are you threatening my family?
Okay.
Right?
Okay. So
what do you call 1,000 Brads?
Dr. Haub said, okay, I'm just going to eat mostly junk. So Twinkies was one of the key, and that's why they called it the Twinkie study.
Yeah.
So snack cakes, sugary cereals.
Yeah.
The one thing he did do so that he didn't get really, really sick, like some of the other studies that have done this, he had a protein supplement. At one point he was eating a steak, but then he switched to a protein shake,
Yeah.
a multivitamin,
Yeah.
a fiber supplement,
Yeah.
and then once a day he would have some type of vegetable, either a fresh vegetable or a can of peas or something like that.
So he doesn't die.
Right.
Yeah.
1,800 calories a day. So in 10 weeks, how much weight do you think he lost?
In 10 weeks, I don't know how much he lost, but I'm going to guess actually I do know. It's like 27 pounds.
27 pounds.
27 pounds.
27 pounds.
Yeah.
So I believe he was just over 200 before, lost 27 pounds. I think most of it actually was in the first week. I think he lost like 14 pounds in the first week or something like that.
I mean, I've never eaten a Twinkie. Have you ever eaten a Twinkie?
Yeah, for sure.
I've never eaten a Twinkie.
What about like a Joe Louis?
Yeah, I like a Joe Louis and the Half Moons and stuff. I like those.
I think a Half Moon essentially is a Canadian version of a Twinkie.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I didn't think the Twinkies were chocolate. Are they chocolate in the Twinkie?
No, they're not chocolate.
Yeah, Half Moon's chocolate. Unless you get the vanilla one.
Yeah, I think the vanilla one is a Twinkie. Anyway, there you go. Canada, U.S. differences.
Okay.
Anyway, so he lost 27 pounds.
Yeah.
His waist circumference went down.
Okay.
His HDL went down.
Yeah.
His
His
triglycerides.
HDL went up.
Sorry, HDL went up. Sorry. His LDL went down. His
Yeah.
triglycerides went down.
Yeah.
And even some of his blood markers of fasting glucose went down.
Weird.
Improved. So the trouble with this is somebody like, wow, this looks amazing.
Yeah.
Why didn't I just
Easy
eat like
diet.
this? Well, it's because of your body's response to actually the weight loss and the calorie reduction
Yes.
that shifts these temporarily.
The benefits.
Long term, this is not a viable way
No.
to A, stay healthy, or to keep the weight
No.
off. It's just simply
No,
not good for
but
you.
the point of the experiment was
Right.
to prove that reducing the number of calories, no matter where they come from,
Yes,
will lead to weight loss because of that first law of thermodynamics.
right.
Okay?
And so what I would say
Mhm.
is people that are trying to lose weight, I
Yeah.
think there's some key principles.
Okay.
The number one irrefutable principle is you have to be in a calorie deficit.
Yes.
And if you are not accurately measuring your calories, it would be very easy for you to be very well intentioned,
Yeah.
even well organized and seemingly disciplined,
Yeah.
and not lose any weight.
Yeah.
And so if you make a mistake of 20 to 40%, you thought you were going to say your goal is 2,000, because
Yeah.
you normally take 2,400. If you're making a mistake of 20%,
Yeah.
that gets you right to 2,400, so now you haven't lost any weight.
Yeah.
If you make a mistake of 30% underestimation, now you're actually, despite thinking you're being restrictive, you're
Yeah.
actually going to slowly gain weight. And that
Yeah.
is very frustrating. It's defeating. It's all of those things, and it's going to make you mad.
Yeah.
So I would say to accurately control your calories, some people would buy cheap scale.
Yeah.
Some people would buy things of known.
Oh,
of
like
known.
measure your weight.
Yeah,
and
like
stuff.
you can weigh it. Like,
Oh, there's
or the
apps
volume.
now. You just take a picture.
Yeah,
of
take a
it.
picture. They can
Yeah.
estimate. So I think there's technology now that can help assist you to reduce the error.
Yeah. And now you may be thinking, oh, this darn first law of thermodynamics that's making me, have to make, use all the energy I'm eating,
Yes.
right? Otherwise I'm gaining weight. You'll be happy to know there's a second law of thermodynamics.
Okay.
And that says there's no way to convert the energy from one form to another usable form without losing some of it.
Right.
And that is your efficiency, okay? And that's tied into entropy and the world's natural tendency to chaos. But in any case, there's an efficiency associated with your body. Thank God, because every calorie you eat doesn't immediately turn into fat or have to be exercised out because there's an inherent inefficiency in that conversion.
In the system, right.
Right? Thank God, so that just breathing, giving off heat, thermogenesis, like
Right.
we talked about before, proteins, for example, that's not an efficient way to get
No.
calories.
30% burn just in conversion.
Yeah, 'cause you're using 30% of it to convert it to energy that you can use,
Yeah.
which is amazing. So thank God for the second law of thermodynamics
Yep.
in biology, which means we have some inefficiencies that lets us eat a bit more than we put out so that we
Right.
don't gain weight. But at the end of the day, it's still what goes in must come out,
Right.
okay, in one way or another. And that's what this experiment that this guy did, put his body at risk here by eating junk food for 10 weeks, proved.
And with respect to food, I'd say yes, more whole foods, less highly processed foods, protein with most meals,
Yes.
kind of sensible, thoughtful approach.
Yeah.
When it comes to satiety, like a lot of the medications now, like the GLP-1 classes, they're all designed to make you full faster. So that's one way to do it. Other ways that you can do it are having fiber-rich meals.
Yeah.
So mostly plants.
Yeah.
Having water before you eat. Some people will drink a
Fill you
glass
up.
of water because it's literally a mechanical filling of your stomach.
Yeah.
Consider chewing your food more, slowing down, and drawing out the meal process as well, because it takes time for the food that gets to your stomach to stretch it out and say, hey, we're actually full. Hey,
Right.
why don't you step
It
away
takes
from the
time for
plate a
those
little bit?
signals to come back. Yeah.
We've talked about basic things to control portions. Smaller plate.
Ooh,
Right?
We should have brought one of our
We
plates.
talked about that 9-inch
Yeah,
plate,
yeah.
which is another good way. The other thing that you want to do is you want to increase your energy expenditure. So the way to increase your basal metabolic rate is to be more muscular,
Yeah.
unfortunately. So consider resistance training. This is a key part as we age. Everyone should be lifting weights, save for severe injury, but everybody should be lifting weights after age 50. It's probably a non-negotiable. The
Yeah.
other thing is non-exercise activity thermogenesis.
Yeah.
So rather than sitting around all the time, 2 minutes an hour, you should get up, walk around, stand for a little bit, rather than just lying in bed, because you burn less calories when you're lying in bed.
Yes. And the thing about, there is a second law of thermodynamics that that efficiency associated with energy conversion. Unfortunately, the human body is super efficient.
Yes.
It really is. I read this thing where the human brain, which does like millions of computations a second, yours
Yep.
is probably 10 million, it uses about as much energy as a dimly lit bulb.
Right.
But now look at AI centers with their computers. They need to get small nuclear reactors
Reactors
to
to run.
power those things, whereas our brain can do it all with like less energy than a bulb. So you may think you're burning a ton of energy by getting on that treadmill. you're not
it's
compared to how
hard.
much you're eating.
It's
So
really
if your only weight loss strategy is keep eating as much as you want to eat, but exercise, it's not going to work.
It's hard to outrun a bad diet.
Yeah, that's a good one. You often say that.
Abs are made in the kitchen.
That's right. You really can't do it just by increasing energy expenditure. You also have to decrease your calorie intake.
Right. So the take-home message from this video is, you know what? Losing weight is difficult. It's so common. Everybody is battling weight almost. It's almost universal. The average man used to be 5'9", 154 pounds. They estimate now in Canada and the US, that person is still 5'9". Their height's not getting bigger, but they weigh between 194 and 199 pounds.
What's going on here?
People are battling our weights because of access to food. So you're not alone.
Yeah, these things were great. Like this whole thing of body being able to store this food was store the food.
Critical for
fat.
survival.
Holy smokes.
Yep.
Like we needed that because there wasn't food availability. There was food scarcity back in the day.
Right.
But we hit an inflection point in humanity where we went from, in some areas of humanity, in some parts of the world, where we went from food scarcity to food abundance.
Yes.
And you know I say abundance of anything is not good.
Not good.
So food abundance. And in that inflection point now, we don't need these bodies' way of storing this energy because it's doing it even though we have a ton of food. That's why we get bigger.
So calorie deficit is critical. Consider measuring, weighing, or being responsible in a way to accurately assess how much you're eating. Increase your active and non-active calorie expenditure. And don't beat yourself up. Reduce your stress, get a good night's sleep. Just focus on those pillars of health, and you can do it. You can do it. There's lots of things online to help you.
I did it with Twinkies.
There you go. There you go. But the take-home message there is reduce your calories. Don't just eat Twinkies. And if you like this video, please like it. Subscribe to our channel.
And remember, you are in charge of your own health, and you are in charge of what you eat and what calories you put in your body.
See you next time.